Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network presented by FanDuel. I am Max Loeb, he is Chef Zay, and it is officially Pittsburgh Steelers week. About 48 hours from now, the Pittsburgh Steelers will host the Cleveland Browns at Acrisure Stadium, not Heinz Field, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in a very, very tough AFC North matchup. We got a lot to talk about today, Zay, but how was the week? How was the post-bad Vikings loss discourse on socials for you? Because I saw some of it. It didn't look good.
Oh, I'm on a full tear. I'm on one right now. People are, I probably got muted 1,000. I'm sure I've been muted by now by a ton of people because my Kevin Stefanski train is starting to fill up. It's starting to fill up, but I mentioned to you off the air that it doesn't even feel like Steelers week. Like they've crossed my mind on Wednesday because I had to do a show. But other than that, I haven't even had time to process exactly what's going on. But that's neither here nor there. How you feeling, my friend?
Good. It's been a weird week for sure. I mean, the post Vikings, I don't know if depression is the right word, but feeling like you should win that game. It's hitting a little bit different this week because everything, and I mean everything that could have been done to win a football game happened, and the Browns still lost. So it's been weird to grapple with that. And now looking at an AFC North team that has a better record than you, I'm pretty sure is leading the division right now, is the only thing standing between you and potentially 1-5 is pretty crazy given the Bengals game week 1, given the fact that you feel like you should have won last week. Like there's an alternate reality where the Browns are hovering around 500, if not above 500 right now, but it can't be the case. And I think we all know why. That the main reason behind that, and I'm sure you've talked about that a bunch throughout the week, but it's coaching at this point, isn't it?
You got guys in the locker room. You got coach even being surprised. I've got a very, very close source, as close as you can get, say that the Greg Newsome thing was a surprise himself. So it's definitely coming down to the very, very stud of this whole operation on the offensive side of the ball, which is Kevin Stefanski. So this is a big week for him. Not only is this a big week, we know we talked about it on the last show where you weren't in. It was huge. Pat pulled up the list of how many quarterbacks or coaches have been fired after a Pittsburgh Steelers loss. So definitely something to keep on the radar. If we lose this way, or if we lose this week and our offense doesn't look good, I'll be looking for it. So.
Yeah, so we do want to welcome on a very special guest for this episode. We can't talk Pittsburgh Steelers without talking with a former Cleveland Brown, Phil Taylor. Welcome on to Honor the Land. Your first appearance on this show. I know not your first appearance on Big Play. We appreciate you hopping on. How are you feeling about this week?
Man, I feel good, man. Appreciate you guys having me, man. But it's Pittsburgh week. It's always a different feeling in the air. It's hoodie season now, so the hits a little bit harder. You know what I mean? It's a perfect week to be going in to play in Pittsburgh.
Absolutely. Well, before we talk any more about the Steelers matchup, we do have to talk about the Greg Newsome trade because it did kind of happen out of the blue. I think it's less out of the blue because we've been talking throughout the past couple off seasons about him getting extended potentially, and it's either getting ahead of that extension or trading him to avoid having to pay him top dollar. The reality with Tyson Campbell is now you don't pay him top dollar, you have him for another couple years, but you lose a really good player in Greg Newsome. Were you guys as surprised as I was just to, wake up or see it late at night, just out of the blue, like 3 days before a game? How surprised were you guys?
I was a little surprised, but playing the game and, being on the outside of the game now, and I see the business side of it. And a guy like Tyson Campbell, he has a longer time before we have to pay him. He might not be as good as Greg, but at the same time, what I'm saying, Greg, he's coming up on a payday. And then I guess these guys didn't want to pay him. So they got somebody with longer time before they need to be paid. Not as good, but it's still a decent guy. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely a payday-induced trade, I think. Zay, you and I talked about it a couple times where there's a world because of how much you're paying Myles Garrett, because of how much Andrew Berry likes to get ahead of these extensions, that Greg Newsome wasn't going to be around. That was it was always a reality, whether we wanted to admit it or not. But I didn't think it would happen into week 6 of this season. That was crazy to me, especially after the Martin Emerson injury.
Yeah, my big thing with that is why now? We known it for a couple years that him and Wyatt Teller were always the two names that were being thrown around. But there was a very specific period of time, which is a couple days leading up to the draft, where Greg Newsome was being thrown in all those conversations. And that's the only thing that I'm trying to think of now is like, if you knew you wanted to move on from Greg Newsome, how much difference in value are you getting? Because sure, you get yourself a player, he probably fits, or everything that I've been heard or told is that Mitchell is going to fit the scheme a lot better, seeing as though he's a man guy. Or Campbell is a man guy. But I will always wonder, would you have gotten more if you traded him on draft night? Could you have gotten a third or fourth or a fifth round pick? We got a seventh and a player. Like, that just seems, for a guy who's playing as best as he's probably played in his, since he's been outside in his rookie year. I don't know. It seems a little crazy to me.
Yeah, it's weird because it seems like we're beating a dead horse with some of the why trade him now stuff. Like, I go back to the Obo Okoronkwo stuff where I said like 4 or 5 times during the draft, like, he's probably going to get traded. He should get traded. And all of a sudden he's not traded. He's cut. Like, maybe the value wasn't there in a trade. Maybe Andrew Berry didn't feel like pulling the trigger at the time. I also wonder if Newsome or really any of these guys were to have been traded during the draft, how much that would have affected the draft strategy. It was very clear the Browns went best player available virtually at every single pick, even though positionally, need-wise, quote-unquote, it didn't make a lot of sense for some of these guys, and it worked. So, like, part of me doesn't want to get too upset about this because the strategy the Browns had during this draft was so good and it worked. And I mean, this is a transcendent draft class. But another part of me is like, well, could you have gotten more? It's weird to me that it happened right now. And I mean, you talk about a guy who's physically built for AFC North football. Tyson Campbell is that guy physically. Like, he's an inch shorter than Martin Emerson, but very, very similar build. Like you talked about, Zay, a man guy. In Jacksonville, their scheme is different from the Browns in the sense that they like to play a lot of zone. They're pretty balanced in what they do, but they love to play zone. And Greg Newsome, a more reactionary guy. Part of the reason I thought he was so good in 2023 was because he was on the inside and you can match up against those quicker guys, but he was also in run support a little bit. And he's very, very good instinctually finding the football. He's going to have more of an opportunity to do that in Jacksonville. That was not Tyson Campbell's game. So I think anybody who wants to look at some of the numbers with Tyson Campbell or like the coverage grades with Tyson Campbell, it's hard to really put a pin on it because he hasn't been asked to do in Jacksonville what I think and a lot of other people think he's best at. So schematically makes sense, but nobody wants to lose Greg Newsome. Like, you talk about the emotional heart of a defense, it was probably him, if we're being real.
It was tough, like I said, but it's a business side of it. I think they didn't make this decision without knowing the pros and the cons of it. But I'm gonna give him a chance. Tyson Campbell is a decent guy, so I'm gonna give him a chance and see how he fits with our defense.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk Browns defense against this Steelers offense led by Aaron Rodgers. Could you imagine hearing that this time last year? Up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and we are here with Phil Taylor, co-host of the Top Dog Show with Josh and Maria Cribbs and Hanford Dixon. We have to talk about this Browns defense. We talked a little bit about Tyson Campbell. I don't want to call this Steelers offense a different beast because the Browns have seen some damn good offenses so far this season, but it's a very unique offense. I'm curious, Zay, I'll start with you. What sticks out to you the most about this Steelers offense, especially coming off the performance they just had against Minnesota?
That they're literally the same team that they've been every time they start off like this. Like, I'm not going to be hoodwinked and bamboozled until about week 11, week 10. Like, I need to see this thing unfold because it's weird that the AFC North is in the situation that they're in right now, but it's even weirder to know that the only one that hasn't quite fell into the trap yet is the Steelers. But that also plays into the fact that the Steelers don't crumble in the beginning of the season. If there's one thing we know about that organization and Mike Tomlin and the guys that they got going up with this truth, they going to be ready to play at the beginning of the season. Now, once you get past that and things start to get a little bit of turmoil, which we haven't really seen yet. We haven't seen any Aaron Rodgers blow-ups or DK Metcalf blowouts. That all kind of happened during training camp and during that offseason. So it seems as if they're right where they want to be because let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade. We know Aaron Rodgers is old, but who wants to see Aaron Rodgers in a playoff series at the end of his stretch with a Mike Tomlin team and a team that hasn't won a playoff game in over 10 years? Like, I know personally, if he got in, I wouldn't want to face him. So,
yeah, I agree with you. And it's weird now because this has been a team, like you talked about, not exactly the same, but like very similar structure. They're going to play really good defensive football and do enough offensively and in special teams, to be honest with you, to find ways to win. But now it seems like the offense has been elevated a little bit. Like Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback they've had since Big Ben. You have a running back room now. Kenneth Gainwell looks good. Jalen Moore is an exceptional player. We've seen that the past couple of years. Now he has an elevated role. I think DK Metcalf is better than George Pickens, but like a step up in your number one wideout. You have Jonnu Smith now. Like it seems like the offensive line included, has just gone up a little bit, has risen a peg or two compared to the past. And the defense, though there were some rough spots at the very beginning of the year, looks good. What scares me the most offensively, though, is the trenches. I watched the Pittsburgh Steelers absolutely move the Minnesota Vikings 2 weeks ago, and that terrifies me. Phil, I'm curious from your perspective in the trenches, are you worried at all about this Browns defensive line against the Steelers offensive line that's playing pretty well?
Not really. We kind of took a step back as a defense, in London. You can add other factors to that, but at the same time, we didn't play like, we usually play. But going into this week, I'm sure guys like Miles and these guys who's been around, who respect the rivalry, who know the rivalry, they're getting guys right. And I think we're going to see a better defense this week than we've seen, even in the past, the last couple of weeks, and especially last week in London. So I think he can get these guys together. They get out to Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, he's old. He can't move as much. We make him throw from a phone booth. I think we'd be sitting pretty. The offense that's our key. If our offense can sustain drives and move the ball, man, our defense would be off the field less, and they'll be, have fresher legs to play.
It's so crazy you say that because number one, it's true, but number two is exactly what they did last week. Like it was exactly what the Browns did last week. They kept the defense moderately fresh. Granted, the second half wasn't great. First half was awesome in terms of time of possession. They won the time of possession battle overall. And they did enough offensively at times where you felt like the defense was having favors done for them. Like you had longer sustained drives that wound up in touchdowns, which you really hadn't seen all year. And all of a sudden you still find a way to lose the game. So like I'm with you. They should have the advantage. They should do what they did last week. But every time I'm like, they do this, they check the boxes, turnover battle, Browns. Running the ball effectively, Browns did it. Even the third down numbers, Browns solid, lose the game. And this week against any team, you could say that like the Browns dominated all these things and they found a way to lose. You're like, oh, that doesn't make a lot of sense. No, when you play the Pittsburgh Steelers, you dominate all these things. The Steelers are notorious for finding ways to win these games. So that worries me. I think it has to take something special. Zay, I know we talked about this last week. I think we're due for a defensive touchdown. I think it has, or special teams, maybe a defensive touchdown, or like even the Grant Delpit return to the 3-yard line or whatever. A big defensive chunk play turnover that, as crazy as it sounds, you don't expect from our offense right now.
Well, Myles Garrett's been 2 games without a sack now. He's due for a wrecking game. Like he's been dominant these first few weeks. He's due for that game where he absolutely wrecks havoc. You've seen it with the Colts. Where he was basically single-handedly responsible for 14 points, jumping over piles, blocking field goals. Like it's only a matter of time. And me and you talk about it all the time, bro. Like we ain't never seen this version of Myles Garrett. I can imagine that there's a little extra added emphasis. But the big thing about it is, you think about it. Pat put a great commentary here. He says Browns are 0-5 in the last 5 games where they forced 2 turnovers or more.
How is that even possible?
Your coach, you're the guy leading the offense. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I want to ask Phil. I was looking back at your history, and it looked like there was only one period of time where through week 6, which was the 2012 season, where you guys were pretty bad. So you guys started out the season, 5 straight losses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 straight losses. Then you won versus Cincy in week 6. What is the locker room like when you get rid of a captain and then you get rid of a high energy guy who is beloved throughout the entire locker room. You are top 2 in terms of defense and stuff like that, and then you look over and your offense can't score 20 points a game. Like, we know it's business as usual. You focus on what the defense can control. If the defense can take away the points and don't let them in the end zone, I get all of that. But at the end of the day, we're human beings. And if we saw Myles Garrett drag this organization and say that he'd be willing to do anything to get out of here on the biggest media platform that there is in the Super Bowl week, and that's just gone away all of a sudden, like, there has to be some sense in the locker room where it's like, is this divided right now? Are we witnessing a power struggle? Is it a player thing? Like, what do you think is the feeling in the locker room right now?
Just doing your job. You gotta as much as guys want to speak out, and you might be able to think you can diagnose the problem. You just got to control what you can control, and nobody wants to be known as that guy that calls somebody out, but as players, you want to come and have your coming to Jesus meeting or whatever. But if it's if the players are all out there giving their all, it comes down to that's something that's above your pay grade, meaning coaches and front office. You know what I mean? So it's like you just got to do your job. You go out there and do your job. That's the only thing you can do, and everything else has to, rely on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's, what'd you say, Zay?
I knew that was the answer.
Yeah.
It's hard to just like come to terms with that when you've got a defense as good as they are. You got a player as good as Myles Garrett. You got a Malik Collins who was an upgrade from Donald Tomlin. Like, you're upgrading in all these areas on one side of the ball, and yet you can't figure it out on the other side of the ball. It's so frustrating that, like you said, we get 0-5 when you have 2 turns. That's just like, that's not regular football. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah. It's pretty insane. That 0-5 number is pretty insane. And Isaiah, you remember we talked to Shelby Harris in the offseason. It's like you have these moments or these games where the defense feels like they stand on their head. I mean, just going back to 2023 when Harris was there, like, there were multiple times where Browns defense stood on their head, kept them in a game where they feel like they should have won. Their reality twofold. Number one, there probably, I don't want to say there will be, but there probably will be a game or two this year where the Browns defense gets bested and they need the offense to step up. So maybe it's a two-way street there. Now, will the Browns step up in those games? I don't know. I'm not convinced right now. But the second part of this is, like, as wild as it sounds, Phil, you just kind of said it. Like, Shelby Harris also told us that if the defense does their job, if the other team doesn't score, legitimately, like, they can't win the game. So there has to be, from either side of the ball, but right now, defensive side of the ball, a really narrow focus on doing your job. Because I think once you stop focusing on that and you start focusing on, oh, our offense can't do this, which is a super normal human emotion to think, that's when you start to lose focus on your assignment, when you start to lose focus on what you're doing holistically as a defense. So I feel like that has to be a focus. And honestly, credit to Jim Schwartz for keeping them that focused, because, I mean, really, outside of that last drive in the Minnesota game, and then, Lions kind of beating up on them as the game went on in Detroit, this defense has been exceptional all year. So I wonder if that change will happen. I wonder if a mentality switch will ever happen with a defense that's this locked in. I don't know. But if the offense keeps playing like it is, I think it's a possibility for those human emotions to come out. Let's talk about the offense, talk about Dillon Gabriel more specifically, up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chevzay, and we are here with former Cleveland Brown Phil Taylor, host of the Top Dog Show with Josh Cribbs and Maria Cribbs, as well as Hanford Dixon. Guys, we just talked about the offense, what it means to have some type of complementary football. Feels like a broken record saying it throughout the entire offseason. But now we are in a spot where the Browns have to score to keep this defense up. They haven't done it. No 20-point game so far. Zay, is there any hope for this Browns team to, let's just say, score 20 points this week on a scale of 1 to 10?
Was the defense scoring?
No.
Listen, this is it. when you watch, and I know you said you weren't going to bring it up. I'm bringing it up, damn it. Okay. I don't want to hear, oh, well, the weapons that he's got is this. And, oh, but he may not be ready. I'm watching Jackson Dart. Okay, Brian Dable put up 34 points. You want to talk about talent? The Philadelphia Eagles have the best running back in the league, have a tandem duo in A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert. Their offensive line is one of the best, and they couldn't put up 20 points. So I don't want to hear any of the excuses of talent and this and that. It's either you're coaching your guys or you're not. You're allowing it or you're not allowing it to happen. Unfortunately, for the past 5 years, Kevin Stefanski has allowed, or well, let's just go recent history. Unfortunately, in the past 25 games, your coach has allowed a performance of 15.4 points per game while averaging 40 pass attempts and only mustering up 228 yards. So is there a chance that we can get it? Yeah, the odds say mathematically one day you're going to get it.
We're due.
We're due. You may look into it. So, yeah, I think it's a possibility. But do I have confidence in it? Absolutely not. Because of all of the stuff that's going on, you're starting to get little leaks here. Like, since when is the Browns organization leaky with Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry? Since when do Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski not align in their words? You got Kevin Stefanski saying, well, that was an Andrew Berry move. Kind of shocked about it. So it's like you're starting to see little things start to creak in the foundation right now. So Kevin Stefanski, we talked about it last week. When his feet's at the fire, he usually tends to respond. So I'm going to play the odds, and I'm going to play the fact that his feet's no longer at the fire. They're in the fire. He has to respond.
100%. And I also think now when you look at the comparison with Dable and Dart, like it's really clear to see that Jackson Dart is Brian Dable's guy. Like that's what everybody's saying.
Kevin's guy.
Exactly. That's what I'm going to bring up. So at what point, I guess it's been a game, right? It's been a game with Dylan Gabriel, but hot seat's hot. At what point is having, quote, your guy not enough? That's my question. Because, again, I've been a guy. Yeah.
You say that, but I came across the video of a Giants fan who said, and he's sitting there. He's like, man, I've been coming to the game. I've been a season ticket holder for 20 plus years. I have never felt anything this electric in the building when Jackson Dart came in. So I don't want to hear that it's just one game. When Dylan Gabriel came in there, I'm like, okay, this is serviceable. And then I'm like, airmail. No one reads like, we didn't get that Jackson Dart feeling. So you can get a feeling in one game, and we didn't get that.
You can absolutely get a feeling in one game. I'm more worried about it being sustainable. And I'm still, like, to an extent, worried about Jackson Dart being sustainable. But what I'm trying to get at here is the fact that at some point, having your guy is not enough as a coach. You got to get creative with play calling. You have to find ways to score points. There's literally no better example than coming off of last night, where the Giants were without arguably the best player on their team, one of the best receivers in the league, were without their other outside wide receiver, and were seemingly outmatched. I know the Eagles defense was banged up, but a team that hadn't really put up 30 points all year outside of the Dallas Cowboys game against arguably the worst defense in the league, they put up 34 last night against Philadelphia Eagles. And then the Eagles, good offensive line, even though they were without a starter, Saquon Barkley, Jalen Hurts, two exceptional wide receivers. Dallas Goedert is playing his ass off too. Like, they put up 17 points. At some point, the talent isn't enough, and it has to fall back on coaching, right?
Got to. Because for them, the Eagles last night, they looked terrible, and it just looked like a team with a bunch of superstars that aren't on the same page, and then like how AJ said after the game, he don't recall a meeting, you know what I mean? So you can take that how you want to take it, you know what I mean? So it's some things going on over there, and it's not looking good. They're probably the worst looking 4-2 team I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, they are. And while we're still on that, I do want to talk to you, Phil, about the tush-push stuff, because if people didn't see, last night the Eagles had a 3rd and 1. I believe it was inside the 5. 3rd and 1, tush-push, didn't get it. 4th and inches, tush-push, got it. 1st and goal at like the 3-yard line, tush-push, don't score. Next play, tush-push, score. As a former defensive lineman, Phil, I'm curious on your thoughts here. Like, the tush-push seemingly almost got banned this offseason. Is it more of an unfair advantage for a defense, or is it simply just a play that you have to figure out a way to stop? I'm very curious.
You got to scheme it up. That's it. Only thing I can say that's that could be done about the play. The play should be able to be reviewed for a false start on the guards. But other than that, man, you got to man the hell up. Scheme it up. You know what I mean? Just like, you know, you know what they're doing. 4-point stance. Get down there. Get somebody. Shit. Tush push from the other side. They on the defensive side. You just got to man up. You can't start banning things that are new and can't be stopped at the moment. It's not like they ran the shit the whole game and won. They still got their ass whooped. They ran it 4 plays in a row. Whoop de doo. You got to stop it. And then the people who bitch about it, I feel like they're the people that they want it out of the game because nobody can seem to stop it. Instead of, being a defense and scheming it up, seeing what guys you can put out there and what guys can, have somebody jump over. Hey, do things to make the refs think, oh, you can't do that, jumping over. I'd be like, hey, they did it. We figured things out. So think on the fly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. This offseason, I was looking at this as the majority of the teams who wanted to ban it as teams who I don't know if they thought it was an unfair advantage, but like they couldn't stop it. That was the reality of it. And it's hard to that's a really bad precedent, I should say, for a lot of things in the NFL and honestly just a lot of things in sports where you have a play that seems legal and you want to ban it or outlaw it because teams can't stop it. To me, it's crazy. Watching that last night was frustrating, especially because I wanted the Giants to win like you wouldn't believe. But you can't stop it. What are you going to do about it? Like you have to get underneath. And at some point, you have to respect the fact that the Eagles' offensive line is really good. They get some serious push up front, and their quarterback is built like a power lifter. So it's not to say other teams can't do it because a lot of other teams may not have that personnel, but teams can certainly try it and try to maximize the personnel with it. They have, some have succeeded, some haven't. But I'm with you. Like you have to stop the play or find a way to stop it before you just like say, hey, let's just get this thing out of the game. It's not right.
Yeah, that's the fun
it should be because of the play and how I feel like the refs should be able to get closer, or at worst, the play should be able to be reviewed for the false start. Because I think that's the only thing that is really out of place for that play, and it's the guys are jumping before the center snaps the ball. So that's the only thing I looked at that's wrong. Other than that, you just got to man up.
Whoever was on the broadcast was talking about it's just bully ball at the end of the day. Your team's bad because your team can't do it. I mean, you think back to the 2022 season, bro. We ran 16. I think the number is 16 4th and 1s or less. And I believe Jacoby Brissett converted on 14 of them. And we were executing it at a high level. But then guess what? The year after that, we tried to do it again, and we didn't run it as effectively. So they mastered their craft. And until someone has a counter for it, man, like Phil said, man the hell up. It's bully ball, man.
It is bully ball. And the Giants and a lot of teams couldn't stop it. And to me, that's not a reason, even if it's boring, even though the entertainment value may get away from 4 quarterback sneaks when it said you could pitch the ball to Saquon Barkley. It doesn't matter. I mean, the NFL is an entertainment business, sure, but at the end of the day, the people on the field are doing what they can to win. So if that's the best play you have in a short yardage situation, they're going to do it. That's the reality. I wish the Browns had a play that was as unstoppable as that. I don't know if we'll ever see that from the Cleveland Browns. But Luke Whippler pass along the goal line. Let's talk a little bit more about the Browns offense and see if they have any chance against the Steelers defense up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. He is Chef Zay, and we are here with Phil Taylor talking a little bit more about this Browns offense against the Steelers defense. A Steelers defense that not necessarily has had the Browns number the past few years, but can certainly take the ball away and can certainly make game-changing plays to alter the outcome of a game. I go back to the game last year in Pittsburgh, and the Browns offense really couldn't get anything going. I go back to the Snow Globe game, and you ran the ball a lot and you had a lot of success with it. What do you guys think is the biggest key to success for this Browns offense against the Steelers defense this week?
Moving the ball on offense. That's it. Like it's getting to a point where our defense has to play almost perfect for us to be in the game. You know, and we just need the offense to sustain drives. That's it, and that's what I feel like it's going to be until we get it right.
And that, do you think that's, well, obviously it stems from running the ball. Is there an avenue in the pass game the Browns should exploit a little bit more? Because I don't want to say the pass game is anemic, but it's definitely worse than the run game right now. What do you think needs to happen in the pass game for them to sustain drives, for them to convert the third and mediums, the third and longs? Who needs to get involved?
It's tough where a lot of these plays, if you look at Dylan Gabriel, he doesn't make his, throws, so he's outside the pocket. He's too short. Saying he can't see over the line. So a lot of these plays where QBs can stay in the pocket and, make those throws downfield, Dylan Gabriel is rolling out. He can't see right there. So it's, changing up the timing of the receivers and things like that. So, I think they're going to have to figure out what, he excelled in college and put it in. I don't care if the other teams, can scheme it up, but you got to do what's, best for him.
Absolutely. Zay, what do you think offensively? Is there a player that you're looking at outside of Quinshon Judkins to take on more of a bulk of the workload to try to move the football down the field and win the time of possession battle again and set the Browns up for success?
You could have Jesus Christ as your quarterback right now. If Kevin Stefanski don't open up this damn offense and act like he's the offensive guru that we signed him up to be 5 years ago to move this offense, I don't care who you have back there. I say this, I'm a broken record at this point. The amount of talent that we have wasted under Kevin Stefanski is unbelievable. It don't matter at this point. I'm tired of all of we don't have the offensive line. We don't have the receiving cores and doing that. Who the hell is LaJordan Humphrey or whatever dude's name is? Like, I'm watching receivers make plays. You find a way to make the plays. Dylan Gabriel, if this is your guy, why are we hindering him? Because I don't want to just put it all on Dylan Gabriel, because the one read thing may be by design. Maybe Stefanski is telling him, hey, you're going here and you're going check down. Anything else is irrelevant, because how you don't know where 85 is on the field at all times when he is probably one of the biggest guys that is not an offensive lineman is besides me. Not giving Quinshon Judkins the ball when you are inside the 10-yard line is besides me. So you can have all the players, all the personnel you want. You can have the quarterback you want, because this is Dylan's guy. This is Kevin's guy. But if Kevin is not going to unleash, we are going to continue to be the same piss poor offense that we've been for 25 games. So there's two words to the key, and it's Kevin Stefanski.
I agree. I think we should ban the term offensive guru from now on. I mean, it probably should have been banned a while ago, but I think we have to do that, because we've talked about offseason after offseason Stefanski being, the quote offensive guru, and you just look at the point production the past 2 years, 3 years, it's not there, regardless of quarterback. And there's some validity to like having your guy and having consistent quarterback play. But then you do watch teams across the league who can put up 20 points with a quarterback that is making his first start on the team, or a guy like Carson Wentz, who comes in and drops, I believe it was 40 something in the Minnesota game, even though some of them were defensive points, but drops a lot of points in the game against the Bengals, where like you had an offseason to prepare with Joe Flacco and you dropped 16, whatever it was. Like, the offensive guru thing's got to go. Like that, to me, we're done with that. And to me, there is no guy, unless your name is Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, that can solve this. There has to be a marriage of quarterback and coordinator. And I mean, both of these guys are below average right now in terms of quarterback and head coach, play caller, but coordinator. And it's just not happening. The offense is anemic because of a lot of things, but the play calling, and it's been the case for the past couple of years. That's the sad reality of it. I don't know what has to change, but I'm with you guys. Like, the run game has to be at the forefront. I think the Steelers' run defense is solid, but at the same time, so is the Vikings. I thought Quinshon Judkins has looked good in pretty much every game he's played, regardless of the defense across from him. Green Bay, great run defense. He's got to get going. What can you do off of that? What can you do after that? I don't know. It seems like, again, beating the dead horse here. You got to get all these guys involved, but they can't do it. They can't do it.
You can pass it to Luke Whippler, okay? Like, you can do all these other things that nobody wants to see. It still just blows my mind that we can't find ways to use Isaiah Bond's speed. It still blows my mind that you're doing everything that you should have done. You're doing everything with Harold Fannin that you should have done with David Njoku. Jerry Jeudy is still one of the best separators. Why is he's not catching any slant passes? I still can't recall the last time he ran a slant pass in recent years. So this is going to be one of those things where I'm sure Mike Tomlin and these boys are eager to play the Browns right now, especially with how they started out, especially with the offense and everything. And they get a kick out of kicking the Browns' ass. And to see them at 1-4, I'm sure they want nothing more than to make us 1-5. So we're gonna need a little added motivation, and we gonna need Kevin Stefanski to have it. That's the one thing I want to talk about on the break coming out is the Kevin Stefanski thing, because I looked over at Brian Dable, right, and this man was in the tent. And he was bitching out the coaches and bitching out the medical people. Where's that drive on our sideline? Because we don't have. You know who has that? Quashawn Junkins, and that's a problem.
Yeah, the him and a couple other guys who I worry are being kind of simmered down a little bit. I don't know if it's Stefanski, but by the offense, like it's clear to see the passion with a guy like David Njoku. Like I don't think that's anybody can argue that. I think it's clear to see with a guy like Jerry Jeudy, much like a lot of the receivers in the NFL who are those true alpha number ones. Like he can come off as arrogant or complaining. A lot of that stems from wanting to be productive and wanting to win. There's very, very obviously passionate. Like to me, there's a lot of passion on this team. I wonder if it's being suppressed a little bit. Let's talk score predictions up next on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network. I am Max Loeb. We are here with Chef Zay and Phil Taylor. We're going to give our score predictions for this game. Phil, we'll give you the choice first. You want to lead us off or you want to take us home?
I'm going to lead it off. I'll lead it off. I feel like like I start a lot of things, man. If the defense play like we supposed to play, I think, and we can hold them to less than 20 points, we can win. If a defense breaks down and they score over 20, we're gonna have to pray. But yeah, the offense, man, we gotta like you said, beat the dead horse. We gotta sustain drives. We gotta find out what Dylan Gabriel is most comfortable doing and put him in that situation. I don't care if it's a college formation, college plays. We got to do what makes him feel comfortable and what can get him warmed up to making better throws and just getting his offense going. You know, I feel like we get a little stagnant. You know, we got a beast in the running back in Quinshawn, and I feel like sometimes we get him going a little bit and then we get down and we gotta lead the run game. You know what I mean? So we just got to figure out our offense, and I think we'd be all right.
I agree with you. I think they can do enough offensively. I think this is a signature game from the defense. I think this is the AFC North game where you have Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf. For better or for worse, I've never played in an AFC North game before. Obviously, you have guys like you talked about, Phil, in the locker room who will get them ready, but it's a different beast, as I'm sure you can attest to, when you're actually on the field. I think the Browns win this game. I think they can do enough offensively. I think they can control the line of scrimmage really on both sides of the ball. This reminds me a lot of the matchup walking into the Snow Globe game where you felt like the Browns had an edge, again, on both sides on the line of scrimmage, but especially defensively against the Steelers' offensive line. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, probably a little better than Russell Wilson, but at the same time, like I think this Browns defense is better than it was last year. I think the Browns don't score 20 points, but I think they win this game 19-16.
I see. I'm going kind of where you're going, but this is how we get 20, right? It's not going to come at the hands of the offense. The offense is going to do 14 points, their usual, right? They're going to do 14. How we get to 20 is going to be at the hands of the defense. And then we're going to be like, well, we scored 20 points. Well, the defense scored 7, so you really scored 14. We're going to win this game by 1 point. It's going to come down to the defense because it came down to the defense every single time. And you know how I'm going? I'm going pick 6, baby, for the game. We're down. Defense needs to make, or we're down. We need to make a stop. Defense gonna get a pick 6. Offense gonna go out there. They're gonna go 3 and out. Defense gonna get the stop that they need to close it out. It ain't gonna be at the hands of our offense. It's gonna be at the hands of our defense. So give me 21-20 Browns.
I'm gonna give you 3 swings at the bat. Give me 3 players you think that could have that pick 6.
Campbell, I think Campbell
Ooh,
it would
okay.
be a great welcoming gift.
Yeah.
I think that we could get Ronnie Hickman, familiar guy who's
Ooh,
returned a pick six as well. And then I will go Dom Jones. Just signed up from the practice squad. I
wow.
believe he'll be playing this week. And if he's not playing this week, I'll take Miles Harden. I think it's going to be one of these guys that, Miles either makes the play, Denzel Ward gets a tip pass, or one of the Carson Schwarzenegger gets a tip, and the secondaries will make the play, and we'll house one.
I like that. I believe I'm with you guys. I think the Browns have a real shot in this one. Phil, we appreciate you hopping on. Feel free to plug your socials anywhere they can find you outside of the Top Dog Show.
Oh yeah, appreciate it, baby.
Yeah. So Zay, lead us off here with here we go, Brownies, and we're gonna do our honor delay in the final segment. But Phil, you are good after Zay gets this chant going.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
We appreciate you guys again. We have one more segment coming up on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back into Honor the Land on the Big Play Sports Network, presented by FanDuel. FanDuel's got an offer for you that you don't want to miss this NFL season. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5, and if it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel has you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/BigPlay to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Must be 21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Guys, we are so beyond due for an honor the lay to hit, and I want to kick us off because I feel great about my contribution this week. You can play this thing up to 40 yards, but right now Isaiah Bond is projected 30 receiving yards in a game where he had 7 targets against the Minnesota Vikings, is very slowly starting to play more in this offense, and there's no Cedric Tillman. I think against a team that's going to play a lot of man coverage, I think against a team that's going to force you to throw the ball by loading the box, Dylan Gabriel is going to look his way. I don't think I'm that crazy for saying this could happen in one play as well, but I love Isaiah Bond, 30 receiving yards, at least 30 receiving yards against this Steelers defense.
I liked another receiving prop. Isaiah Bond was my original one that I liked this week, but
I took it from you. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, because I like the other one, I think, a little more. Seeing Jerry Jeudy at 44.5 is absolutely disgusting. He's 3 for 3 when he's played against the Steelers in that number: 62 yards, 85 yards, 64 yards. And it's not like he's not getting targeted. He's getting 6 targets per game on that. So I think Jerry Jeudy's going to have a lot of time, or a lot of chances to make some plays here. And we haven't had a Jerry Jeudy game yet. We had that one good first quarter, and that was about it. So I'm really, really liking Jerry Jeudy this week. I'm sure he probably got a lot of reps in with Dylan Gabriel. So there should be some sort of connection now. Give me that 44.5.
I love it. I think this has to be a Jerry Jeudy game. Very much mirrors what the Lions do defensively too. I mean, you watch the crazy first quarter he had against the Lions. Pat, you want to take us home with your pick?
Yes, sir, guys. I was thinking along the same lines that you guys were. It's got to be a Jerry Jeudy game, also a David Njoku type game. If you look at the player reception numbers over under, Jerry Jeudy's is 3.5, which feels insanely low at -112. That's basically even money. You could also look at the David Njoku over 3.5. That's -168 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. But for the honor the lay, Jerry Jeudy over 3.5 receptions.
I love that. So Jerry Jeudy yards and receptions. I love that. Nice little correlation there. And then we have Isaiah Bond with at least 30 receiving yards, sitting at, it's loading for me right now. Yep. Plus 303.
So basically,
for now.
we're getting a Dylan Gabriel legacy game.
I hope. I don't know if that's even possible at this point, but we appreciate you guys watching. We appreciate you listening. Until next time on Honor the Land on Big Play Sports Network.
Catch us at
Zay.
I forgot. We're gonna be at Truck Park Sunday morning pregame shows going live. We'll be live in the direct, so make sure you guys check it out. Matt and myself will be there. Don't be afraid to come say what's up, take some pictures, have some food, maybe even we'll power a brew together. Who knows? Come on through. It'll be a great time.
We might have to, especially with how Vegas thinks this game is going to go. But yes, Lakewood Truck Park Sunday. Make sure to check it out. We'll be live, obviously, with the show. But if you're in the area, stop by, drink deals as well at Lakewood Truck Park. We appreciate you guys again. See you next time.